Welcome to another installment of our Chaos to Calm on Thursday evenings. Tonight is a little different. I'm having some technical difficulties with my laptop, and unfortunately, I have to use my phone, and my phone does not stream to my social sites. So I have recorded this and I will post it, and I hope you can watch it this way. Tonight, we are going to talk about our habits. Habits are things that can serve us very well. They keep us on track. They keep us alive, right? They keep us clean. They keep us healthy. They also, though, however, can keep us from growing. They can keep us sick. They can keep us eating bad food that's in our bodies, right? So we have two versions of habits, and neither one is good or bad unless you're trying to change. Your habits are deep rooted in who you are. And I know that's not very easy to hear when you're trying to change a habit like smoking or eating junk food or laying around watching television. When you have those habits, we often like to point blame on other things around us or other people or have it be situational. But the truth of the matter and the tough love that I'm about to give you right now is those habits that you have formed were formed because of who you currently are. And they're formed, we talked about it a couple weeks ago about self-sabotage and how that happens and how this little stick man comes into play, right? All of our senses are up here and everything we see, smell, hear, taste, and touch comes into our mind, into our conscious mind, and then we give it meaning. And if we've tried something and we failed, that now lies here in this subconscious mind, which becomes part of our programming, which then turns into our habits. And when we succeed at something, that settles in here, and then we want to do it again and again, right? We want to achieve. That's why social media is such a killer at times, because it's become part of your subconscious programming as a dopamine hit. It gives you that excitement when you post something and everyone's commenting and liking it and sharing it or whatever, and it's gaining traction. That gets you really excited. So then you want to do it again. But what happens when you're going for a goal like losing weight, stopping smoking, creating a healthy routine, and you have one day where you trip up? Well, you tend to beat yourself up. You talk down to yourself. You get really hard on yourself, and you live in this shameful frequency that becomes part of that subconscious programming, and you don't try again based on your results that you've experienced. So when you experience various things in your life that feel gross, it really stops us and allows us to become. You then become someone who gives up easy. You then become someone who procrastinates. You then become someone who would much rather lie on the couch, binge watching television, eating, drinking, smoking, online shopping, whatever, than even put yourself out there, get courageous, and do different habits. I bet if you observe some of your current habits that aren't serving you, you can backtrack as to why they became the habit in the first place. The smoking habit that so many people have and have had for years and years and years. At one time, was formed on peer pressure. It was formed at a very young age. You probably tried it really early, and everybody was doing it, and you wanted to be cool, and you didn't feel like you fit in. And at the time, when you're a teenager, you want so badly to feel like you're part of something. So you start this very addictive habit. And this very addictive habit then becomes part of who you are. You are a smoker, right? Same with drinking. I grew up and live in different county, but similar mindset, a county that drinking was huge. Drinking was a huge part of being a teenager. If you weren't a drinker, didn't really get invited to the cool parties, people didn't really know your name, right? And you wanted to belong. And you drank, and you had some amazing memories because of it. I have so many friends that share memories, both women and men, and they share memories of the times they got really drunk with their friends. And it takes them back to this feeling, this excitement, this place of belonging, this rush almost, right? And they want to recreate that all the time. So they are drinkers. Same with eating junk food. We get really down on ourselves about not eating properly. So then we stuff ourselves with junk food. Or maybe you're somebody that eats their feelings away when something's wrong. Again, that's a learned behavior that you may have learned from a parent. You may have learned that it served you as a child. We often like to soothe emotions with eating and drinking, right? I think about times where even my own son has been really upset about something, and I'm like, "Oh, buddy, do you want a snack? Let's get a snack and talk," because it's super easy to talk over food, and that's probably just where it started. And there's no reason to beat yourself up about it, but now it's part of you. It's part of your habits, which is part of who you are. So in order to change, if you are on a journey of self-discovery and growth and change, and you want different results than the results you're currently getting, you need to change your mindset. You cannot change your habits and your results with the mindset that created them. That mindset has been part of who you are for years, many of you for decades. So how do you go from a non-smoker or someone that loses weight or releases weight and keeps the weight off and never gains the weight again? Or how do you go from someone that all of a sudden now is moving their body daily and they never return to someone that's a couch potato? It starts right here every time. You can go ahead and try it a million different ways. There's a million different programs out there to get you to lose weight, right? Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig. I'm not even sure that's a thing anymore, but that was one. I think Noom might be the closest one that actually deals with this stuff. There's the Atkins diet, the what's the other one? There's tons, right? Same with smoking. You can try the patch. You can try moving into a vape scenario. You can try cold turkey. You can do all kinds of things. The only productive, constructive way to quit smoking, and I know someone in my life that's done it, is to get hypnotized, because it's changing this. And unless you have the willpower to override your bad habits, whatever they are, I just use the smoking, weight, eating, As examples, my bad habits were procrastination. My bad habits were deep rooted in lack of self-belief, unworthiness. I always thought that I overrode my disease and would not let it lead my life. And I was trying really hard to be the person that would be positive and all of the things. But when it came down to it, I made decisions based on a sick person. I made decisions based on this person who gets sick in the hospital if she tries to change anything in her life for the positive, right? That was my programming because that's what I had seen once upon a time. And then I gave it meaning, and then I allowed it to become a belief, and then it was a habit. And so when you're trying really hard to change a habit, whatever it is, you have to reprogram your mind around it. So how do you do that? There is something called auto-suggestion. You are auto-suggesting every day anyway, constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not fast enough, constantly telling yourself that you don't have time, you don't have the money, whatever it is, you're always auto-suggesting things anyway. Usually they're negative things. Usually they're things that don't serve a purpose to you. So when you are auto-suggesting in that way, it just reaffirms that belief, which then further perpetuates the habit. It will never change unless you override that thought. You have to interject with a different thought. So every time I was trying to build this business at the level that it is now and the level that it's absolutely headed in, I would get up off the couch, or I'd get out of my morning study group because I've been studying this material for a very long time. And the moment I would stop study group, I'd sit on the couch a little longer or at the kitchen table a little longer, and I'd scroll on social media. And all of a sudden, it's an hour after study group has ended. I'm still scrolling, and then I'm hungry. So I get myself a snack or I make myself a tea, and then I'm tired. So I go lay down on the couch. Oh, Melissa, you need your sleep. You're sick. You need to take care of yourself. You don't have enough energy. Why don't I have enough energy? And it would just spiral on and on and on until it was bus time for my son to come home and I've done nothing. And there would be weeks of that. And until I used this tool of auto-suggestion, reaffirming new thought patterns, I made zero headway, zero changes. There would be a day, I'd be like, wow, I did awesome today. And then the next day I would crash. And then 2 weeks later, there'd be a day. And then the next day I would be back into my habits. And this might sound super similar in whatever situation that you're currently in. So here's what you have to do. You have to build an affirmation. I had somebody once ask me, what, like, affirmations feel like such a lie. I hate affirmations because I'm telling myself stuff that I'm not currently seeing in the physical, and I certainly don't feel them emotionally. So why am I doing this? Well, the thought patterns you're currently having are not serving you, and you're telling yourself them all the time. Sorry for the dog. My family just got home. And you are continuously saying the same affirmation in a negative form that is bringing on the same results for you. So when you say something different, and continue to say it in a way that you start to believe it a little bit, right? I am no longer a procrastinator. I am a doer. I am persistent. I am in love with what I do, and it helps me get up in the morning. That's one of mine. And I didn't believe it at first. Honestly, it took me a week and a half, 2 weeks to start to be like, hey, I am a doer. I have evidence of that. I have been showing up like crazy lately. I'm a doer. I keep persisting and I love what I do. And then slowly that key turned and I started to feel it. I am a doer. Hey, look at me. I am showing up, regardless that my laptop is not working and that I can't stream the things I want on to my social media, right? I am persistent. I'm showing up and I love what I do. And then once you add that feeling, once you let it settle in there and it becomes a part of your belief, it's just a habit now. I don't want to stop doing this. I don't want to go back to scrolling on my phone after my morning study groups. I can't wait to dive into my projects and show up on my virtual workshops and talk on this Chaos to Calm on Thursday nights and do my meditations on Sunday and serve with this level of excitement and want to change lives. I don't want to go back to a Netflix and chill solo without, the chill part. I don't want to do that. I want to live. I want to live. And I bet that you do too. So you find an affirmation, put it in the present tense. I am blank. And then put an action in there. I am blank with an action word with an ing is even more juicy for you for your affirmation, right? I am doing the steps I need to do to have a 7-figure business. Or I am a money magnet. I'm calling in X amount of money every month, right? Find the affirmation that's going to help change that current habit that really doesn't serve you. And I recommend only picking one, maybe 2 habits. So I picked my procrastination and inconsistency, and I also picked a money habit to help forward those 2 along. I have a bazillion other bad habits that do not serve me. But when you try to tackle a bunch of them at once, it just gets you bogged down and overloaded and overwhelmed. And then you do what? You give up. So pick one. Pick the one that truly is not serving you right now and make a change going forward. And if you need suggestions, if you need guidance, not even if, because you will need guidance, let's chat. Because I have to tell you, the other missing piece is someone that will coach you on this stuff. Changing your mindset, especially if you've had one a certain way for decades, is not easy. It's not an easy task. And it feels very lonely when you're trying to do it alone. It's way more fun, it's way quicker if you do it in a community, if you do it led by a mentor and a coach. I can promise you, the person you are right now, if you invested in yourself with someone that could guide you through it, will absolutely be totally transformed into somebody different in 6 months to a year. I can't even I look back at myself a year ago and I hardly recognize who that was. And even more interesting, I look back at myself and posts that I was making 2, 3 years ago, and I almost forget that that person because she wasn't where she is now. She wasn't happy. She was happy. She was happy in her marriage. She was happy with her son. She was happy. We just got the dog. That stuff was wonderful. But deep down inside, super lost, super frustrated with my health. I felt defeated. I felt like I was on a path to somewhere I didn't want to be. And so I was really in a dark space in my mind. And without this work, without the guidance of a professional, I don't think I would have made the change. And I want that for you. I want you to be able to wake up in 6 months to a year and say, I've changed for the better. And then you'll start to see everyone around you gets to change. And the habits that you once had are no longer your habits, and you're working on new habits. And the habits that your family even has change. All because of one thing. Started right here. And it's worth it. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful evening. I promise next week is going to be back to normal. We'll get this laptop working. And on Sunday, we are also going to do our meditation. So join me for that. Have a lovely night.